My story takes place in a little city close to Montreal, maybe an hour from Montreal, called McMasterville. Back in the day, I was around 14, 13 years old when my dad bought the house. At the time, he had 2 other children. Now he has 4. We were only 3, me and my 2 brothers. He had also his wife with him. My parents were separated. I was going to my dad's on the weekends. I was pretty excited that he bought a house that I could have a room in, because for so long I didn't have a room. Everybody had their rooms. I had my own room upstairs. It was a 2-story house because the winters are pretty rough. In Canada, we have to have a basement because the pipes will freeze. We had the basement and we have the main place. Everybody's room was upstairs at first. My room was at the end completely of the corridor. I don't remember exactly when it started, like all the weird things happening. I just remember it vividly, that it happened almost every night that I was there. We had that family dog that I was sleeping with every night. When I was about to go to bed, I just said goodnight to everybody, grab the dog, go to my bed. I would always keep the door an inch open because I was a bit scared of the dog. It was just reassuring me that my dad was so close. Me and my dog were sleeping. I was waking up suddenly in the night, 2 to 3 a.m. I was hearing those footsteps in the doorway, in the corridor. I thought at first it would be one of my brothers or my dad just going to the bathroom, but it kept coming closer to my room. Then it just stopped in front of my door. It just pushed my door open slowly. When I looked, nobody was there. Nothing, just darkness and just nobody. My dog just turned around at the same time and started growling. Then I was freaking out. What is that? When you're 13 to 14 years old, you started getting into scary stories, paranormal movies. I was a bit conscious about that. And I was like, okay, this is really weird. Is there like a window open or anything? I was just froze there, waiting for it to do something. Nothing happened. I was getting up, closing my door. My dog was still a bit on shock, and then try to go back to sleep the best as I can. That would happen every night that I was there. Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night I would come back to go to school on Monday morning. And I couldn't sleep because I knew it was going to happen when I was going to bed. I was waiting for it. I would tell my dad like the next morning, have you been walking around last night, or do you know if any of my brothers did? And he was like, no, why? And I was like, because like there's that thing that keeps like pushing my door and coming into my, I don't know if it comes into my room, but it feels like it. My dad is a big skeptic. He was just like, nah, it's all in your head. You listen too much of like scary movies. I was like, I swear to God that like I can't make that up. I was like, wow, this is great. Feeling very validated here. Things were moving around the house. We were having dinner sometimes and the lights were flickering randomly. I was watching TV and the remote would move from the table. I was just wondering, is this in my head? Am I becoming crazy here? Is it just stress? I don't know. You try to tell yourself that it's in your head, that everything around you that is happening is just wind, just different natural causes. We kind of get used to it almost. That's when things start to escalate. My dad decides to move me to the basement because my stepmom is pregnant. We need a new room for the baby. My brothers are already sharing a room and they just need a new room for the baby. Because I'm not there full time, they decided that it was the thing to do. I'm going to sleep in the basement from now on. I'm not really loving the idea The basement was a place that I always felt really uncomfortable. You feel like you're being watched. Things were moving as well in the basement. Lights were flickering. I wasn't really stoked to go there, but I wanted to hang out with my family, see my brothers. I didn't really have a choice. I said, yes, that's all good. To describe you the basement, like it's all done up, but there's no room really. It's mainly a big open space. There's the living room with the couch and TV, and just behind there would be my bed. There's a bathroom as well. I remember clearly my first night in the basement. I'm still shaking by it. I was uncomfortable and feeling watched. I just couldn't sleep, so I decided to open all the lights, open the bathroom door, put the light on. The most light as possible, the better for me. I felt more secure. And unfortunately, my family dog passed away like a year before that. I didn't have like anybody to sleep with me in the basement. I was by myself. I was sleeping that night and put all the lights on, and I went to bed. I just remember being woken up, like somebody pushed me on my back, and I was sleeping like so, the forehead almost like against the wall because I didn't want to see anything, and I was hitting the wall at the same time that thing pushed me with my forehead. I was turning around to see if there was anything. Everything was pitch black. No light. Nothing. I turned the lights on before I went to bed. All the lights in the living room are off, and the bathroom door is closed. The light is closed. It's pitch black. All I see is that thing close to the bathroom door. There's not really a shape to it. It's just a dog thing that's there. It's looking at me. Then I freak out. All I remember is that it's either, every time that happened, it's either I was trying to go back to sleep or go underneath the blankets. I felt just stuck. I didn't want to get up because I had to go in front of the bathroom door to go upstairs. Or I would just face my fear, go upstairs and go outside because I didn't want to be in the house. I would call my mom. She would pick me up. That happened a lot of times. It was either everything was getting pitch black and the weird face, the weird thing, the black thing wasn't there, or it was I wake up and it's there. It was really random. It was not every night it was there, but every night something happened. Every time I was at my dad's place, I was sleeping horribly, anticipating that something would happen, and every time it happened. When I was telling my dad this, like, did somebody came downstairs last night? Did somebody close all the lights when I was asleep? Did somebody try to wake me up? He was like, no, nobody. We have a bathroom upstairs. Why would we use the bathroom downstairs? Why would we go to the basement? Nobody went there. I was asking even, like, do you think somebody is sleepwalking? I just needed an answer to try to comfort myself that it wasn't what it was. I was getting nothing, and I was asking my stepmother and everything. I was talking to my mother about this because she was the one coming to pick me up at 4 a.m. when I was waiting outside, refusing to go back inside. She was believing me. She was like, yeah, I believe you. Every time I come to pick you up, I go into the house in the hallway. I feel something really heavy. I don't feel comfortable. I understand why you want to leave. It was becoming like such a thing that I was never sleeping an entire weekend over there. It was starting to become an issue in my relationship with my dad because he thought I didn't want to come at his house because I didn't like the family. It wasn't that at all. It's because I couldn't sleep. That thing just wouldn't let me sleep. It was just wanted my constant attention, or just wanted to scare me. I started bringing some friends over when I was sleeping over there. I didn't want to come sleep by myself, which is a bit mean of me. I know that something's gonna happen and I just bring them along knowing that they're gonna be scared. I just couldn't go there by myself. We didn't have like another family dog. Every night I had nightmares over there. The time that I bring a girlfriend home, I had still a room that was in the basement. We were in my room. I was just talking to her about what happened. She was like, oh, this sounds really scary. I don't really feel comfortable being here. And it's like, oh, don't worry. We're protected. They're not going to do anything. At that moment, the globe from my lights, bang. Massive explosion in my lamp in my room. We screamed to death. We ran out of the room. What was that? Why? At first, we didn't know what it was. The light just went off with a big sound of glass exploding. And we're like, what is going on? After, we gathered our thoughts and we calmed down a bit. We went back to my room. I looked at the lights. There's no more light globe. There's no more lights. It exploded. There's glass everywhere on my bedside table. Things were getting worse. I was trying to avoid talking about it to my dad or anything, just trying to make it as if it wasn't there. Just don't give it any attention. At the same time, I was so scared. Later, when I was actually sleeping in the basement, I was with another friend. I was bringing friends over, not to be alone. We were about to go at a little teenage party. We had a big mirror door. There was a wardrobe door, but it was a mirror. I was putting mascara on. We were chatting. I remember vividly putting mascara on, looking at the reflection of myself. And my friend is at the back, hanging out. The door slowly opens in my face while I'm putting mascara on. But we're in a basement. There's no wind. Even if it was wind, that doesn't open doors like that. Mirror doors. We freaked out. We ran out of the house. And my friends didn't want to come over anymore because they were like, we just can't sleep at your place. We're always terrified. It was fun 1 or 2 times for them because they were experiencing paranormal stuff. But after a while, they were like, it's actually really scary. We don't want to stay there anymore. It was becoming a thing in my friend group that my dad's house was haunted. People were just coming with me to experience it because it was disappointing every time something would happen. Later, my brothers, when they're getting a bit older, they as well were doing horrible nightmares, getting woken up the night by something. I think they were a bit too young. They don't remember all the details. The brother that's closest in age to me told me about the nightmares he was having, and it was pretty similar to mine's. Something was bothering us in our sleep, something in our dream that was making it bad, horrible. They were waking up with that horrible feeling that something is there and wants to hurt you. Almost. It was intense. I've experienced paranormal stuff a bit earlier in my life as well. I never got that feeling. I never got that urge of getting out of the house. I never had that pressure, that it felt almost like a pressure, like a physical, like something was surrounding you and just wanted to do bad things. It was not well-intentioned. I think that's why that thing kept waking me up at night. It was having a pleasure, disrupting my sleep, making me miserable. My brother was telling me that thing was not really nice to him either. I think it was targeting us because we were children. Because my dad never experienced really bad things, and my stepmom either, but for a reason, me and my little brothers were getting targeted by that thing. We had a big closet underneath the stairs, the Harry Potter closet. It was pretty old and the wood was chipping a bit. My dad needed a bit more storage space. He decided that he was gonna renovate that space and make really nice shelves and just nice storage space. He started ripping out the walls, some layers of the walls. I was there for that day. He wanted me to help him a bit. That's when we saw that underneath that wall layer was just names, hundreds of names of different people written in different colors. So many names. there was that sentence that kept coming back on the walls. It was like, he's watching you. He knows everything. And my dad was like, what the hell is that? But it was in French. It's like, instead of he's watching you, it's like he sees you. It's like, voit, il sait tout. That's like, and in French it's pretty short sentence. It's like, il te voit, il sait tout. Il te voit, il sait tout. And that was just written 30 times everywhere in that little wardrobe. All those different names and weird symbols underneath the stairs. This is so creepy. Why is there so many names written? Some names were crossed. Some names were still there. Some names was bigger than others. What's the meaning of this? Who did that? It wasn't like children writing. It was a good writing. My dad got spooked for the first time at this point. He was like, this is really strange. I was like, I told you there was something weird in that house. Told you. He was still not believing me 100% with the bad things that were going on around there. That definitely spooked him out. It's crazy that we got almost used to having things moving around. But when I started seeing that weird shadow, that's when I was like, this is it for me. That thing actually wants to hurt me. I couldn't understand what it wanted. Maybe it was demon or just a bad spirit. I don't know. I just don't know. That's haunting me again today. What was it? I would love to have an answer on what it could be. I've never done any research on the house, like if somebody died in there or anything. I would like to know if something happened in that house for it to be that negative. Weirdly, he sold the house not that long afterwards. He keeps saying that's because he needed more space, more room, because I have 4 siblings on my dad's side. Thinking about it now, it's quite interesting that my dad decided to move out a few months after that discovery. I think he probably discovered that, needed some more space as well. I was like, well, this is good timing. Me and my brothers keep saying that there's something in our rooms. He doesn't believe you, and he found that underneath the stairs. So he's like, oh, yeah, okay. maybe I'll move. Recently, I talked to my auntie. I wasn't there full time, but my auntie was there a bit because she's pretty close to my dad. She can see things. She has spirits that follows her. She can hear them speak all the time. I asked her about that house not that long ago, maybe a year ago. She was like, oh yeah, I remember. I was telling her about my experience and about my brother's experience. She looked at me with those eyes saying, oh, yeah, no, you were definitely not wrong. There was something horrible in that house. And I was like, what? What do you mean? She used to see it all the time. It was hanging out in the basement. And it was coming upstairs sometimes, and I was telling her about it, and she's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But she was getting like really short on her answers. Like she didn't want to freak me out too much. She was really happy that my dad sold the house, because that thing was not really a positive energy. It was sucking the light out of people. Her saying that, it confirmed in my head I wasn't crazy. There was actually something wrong with that house and with that energy that was there. For so long, I was like, maybe it's all in my head. Now I can say that my experience were actually real. There's no logical explanation for it. At first, I was not happy. I was relieved. It was not all in my head. But then there's an emotion of being really scared. I can't believe I lived that. I can't believe that I had that experience, because like a lot of people don't get that. I almost wished I didn't, because now it's in me, that experience. I'm always going to be afraid of certain things. When I feel uncomfortable, when I feel like something is watching me, now I know that it's not all in my head. When I was younger, way younger, I remember we were living in an old apartment in Montreal, my mom and I could see so many people. There were so many different shadows in the house. One was always walking at night in front of my door. It was wide open. I could see it running. Then it was peeking through the door at the last possible minute to check. At first I thought it was my mom, but then I realized it was just that thing that was peeking on me at night, looking at me, then doing his thing. So, growing up with that, then coming to my dad's place, at first I was like, oh, it's probably the same thing as when I was younger. But then I realized that thing was way more evil. It was way more dark and just wanted to hurt me and my brothers. I don't know why it targeted us, just children. Did it follow us somewhere? Did it follow me and my mom? I don't know. I don't think I want to know. At what point did it start leaving my brothers alone, or if it ever left my brothers alone? I just know that I'm never gonna go back into that house. You couldn't pay me $100 to do it. Millions of dollars, I'm not going back there. Never.